Hi everyone and welcome to another exciting Hot Topics. I'm Neev Spencer.
And I'm AJ King, and today it is an enterprise special. We're all about business. We're going to be chatting to these two lovely Prince's Trust Young Ambassadors, Taslima and George, who've both been supported via the enterprise program supported by NatWest.
Yes, indeed. We're so excited to have them with us today, and we really want you to get involved as well. So if at any moment you want to ask us a question or any of the Young Ambassadors, just do it right in the box just below what you can see. So business, we are kind of our own business, aren't we, AJ?
Indeed. I was saying to someone that I enjoy the turning up and working aspect. The paperwork, the delegation, all of that isn't something that I'm really that au fait with.
No,
so yeah, that's why I
absolutely.
failed business-wise. What about you?
I'm not great with the whole admin either, and being self-employed, there is a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, trust me.
But it is nice kind of being your own boss in a way at times.
Indeed.
Albeit with quite a lot of pressure as well.
Yeah.
But that's enough about us. Let's talk about our amazing guests.
Mm-hmm.
So we have George with us. George, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit about your business.
So it's called Pilau Restaurants. It's a fast casual, fresh Indian street food
Yum.
brand. Started back in 2015. And we did the street food scene for about a year and a half. We now have two permanent restaurants, one in Good Street and one in Soho.
That's amazing. That
Nice.
really is amazing.
Thank you very much.
Right, we're going to hear more
And I'm not on my
about
phone,
that.
by the way. I'm trying to look at you guys' questions.
He normally is on his phone, but he's not right now, just so you know. Taslima, we have had an opportunity to have you as a guest before, which was wonderful.
Yes.
Welcome back. Tell
Thank
us
you.
about your business.
So Taslima K is a conscious luxury fashion label creating awareness on different social issues through fashion. So we engage fashion and politics. We travel to different countries with various charities and NGOs to learn about a different social issue. And we implement that within our designs and educate through our clothing. And we give back to the source of our inspiration.
Cool.
Amazing.
And judging by your
Amazing.
Instagram feed, you're always traveling,
Yes.
always getting inspiration,
Yes.
and stuff like that. So, amongst young people, this is the first question for you guys. What do you think the perception is with, being self-employed, being your own boss, being responsible for everything around young people in general?
I think there's various theories of it. So within the education system, I don't think you're taught self-employment. You're taught to go through education and work for someone else. And that didn't work for me.
Yeah.
So I learned about self-employment outside of school. And I thought that there is another way of me creating something of my own and having respect for what I want to do.
Yeah.
And creating opportunities. And but I feel that social media and other platforms now allow young people to create their own business and
Absolutely.
pursue something for themselves. It is glamorized in some sense, and I don't think it is glamorous at all.
Talk to us about the nitty-gritty. That's what we want to know. The
Yes.
tough days, the tough decisions.
Right now, this is makeup and great clothes.
We're hiding the pain.
What's the graft usually?
Late nights, I don't sleep much. I'm up till 4 a.m. making the clothes, designing the clothes, doing the paperwork. I am the maker, the designer, the marketing,
Wow.
the press, the sales, the manufacturer,
Wow.
accounts, finance. The list goes on.
Yeah.
So legal. There you go. So there's so many elements that you're not taught, that you're not told either. So even going into a business, you need to learn loads of things, but we're going through it
You
whilst
are
we experience.
learning and living it every day. George, what do you reckon holds people back from taking that first step into running their own business? Is it the kind of the scaremongering about it, or do you think it's just that they feel they're not ready? What do you reckon?
I think it's a good question, and I think possibly it's to do with perfectionist, and a lot of people are waiting for the perfect moment, and they think if X or Y happens, then I'll start. Or things will be better in a year's time, the market's different. And I think there is never, ever a perfect time to start. Now is a great time. With basically start with what you have right now, because what you have is enough. So I think that holds a lot of people back.
That's really good advice.
Can I say something though?
No.
It's all it's all
Never.
good and well. It's all good and well because lots of the time we share advice, we see advice. I want to know from you, what that small piece of advice that you gave
Yeah.
us. give us a real life example of that, where you've had to, you know, overcome something, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if we're allowed to say, but I'd say probably several days, possibly weeks at a time, we've been trading, and we haven't been. I mean, we've been legal, we've had everything there, but there's been times where you just have to go for it and make decisions. And I think there's a lot of people that will wait for all of their ducks to be in a line. And so for us, I think it becomes a difficult choice of whether you should take shot and shoot or wait. And I would always be, and in my business, we always go for it and plead for apologies later.
Gotcha. I like that.
Gotcha.
It's gold.
Yeah.
I think you have to be daring. I mean, my gosh, if you are the person that's making these decisions and they're all going to have a huge impact on all this other work, and you've got a team, and, you know, you've got to be bold. You've got to be aggressive as a boss, you know. Taslima, for you, what inspires you to keep your business going and growing? Is it the goodness that you receive because there's such a, you know, fantastic message behind what you're doing? What is it you would say for you?
I definitely started my business based on creating change and impacting people's lives and impacting the fashion industry. So be it sustainable fashion, growing, and also we want to create our own factory and provide job opportunities for women and girls in villages in Africa and Asia. So there's so many plans that we want to grow to. So I think my motivation is me being able to change other people's lives through the business that we have.
Love it. That's
Brilliant.
awesome.
Brilliant. And same with yourself. Food is extremely competitive, creative at the same time, and utterly global. So, you know, you're kind of up against it. What keeps you going?
I think we've only got one life, and I didn't go to university, and I think I'm only here for one spin. So I want to give it my all. I don't want to leave anything out on the table. I'm going to go all in. I think you're definitely right that it's a highly competitive market. We try and make our product speak for itself from where we sit, and we try and make it the best, the freshest, the tastiest, everything from the sauce that we make to the branding.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah, we're hungry.
Where's the samples, bro?
No, I know.
Where's the samples, man?
We should have.
We're all going to go to the restaurant after this. That's what's going to happen.
But yeah, you try and make sure everything is on the
as
highest.
good as we possibly can. So that the customer experience is as good as we can. And like I was saying before we just started, that it's not your traditional Indian restaurant. We play two-step garage, R&B and hip-hop, and it's a bit of a hipster-ish sort of place, but it's a nice, but really, really good food.
Can I ask a question? You, Indian food,
yes.
Why? I mean, obviously, I think the stat is that Indian food is one of the most popular foods in Britain.
That and Chinese switch places between top and...
And is that why, or is it because of some personal experience that you had? Did you go there, or...?
Yeah, so I grew up in North London, surrounded by some really, really good Indian takeaway places. And then travelled to India, took my brother out there, and found our fairy godmother, who's sort of taken us under her wing. And
like a chef?
Wow.
Was she like a
she's,
chef? Or...
She's like a mum.
More than that.
She's
Nice.
like a mum.
Wow,
She's like a mum.
Fairy
Amazing.
godmother. Okay.
And she's into her chutneys, and she makes everything from scratch.
Wow.
And so she's helped us change our menu.
Yeah.
We've also got a charitable aspect. So every time someone eats at either one of our restaurants, we feed a child in India through Akshaya Patra, who are the charitable partner.
That's incredible.
And so she's helped that all happen.
That's so brilliant. That really is.
Brilliant. Now, the next phase of things is, you know, once you've got your business up and running, you're fully immersed in it, but you also have these other commitments as well. You have an actual life to live as well. Now, we've spoken in previous sessions about, you know, staying off social media and how you manage it. How do you manage keeping that work-life balance when your work is your passion and everything that you're about? What's the cut-off, and how do you deal with that?
Well, I haven't found that yet. I've heard about that.
She's waiting for me to finish.
That seems great. Tell me more. Basically, right.
I think you've summed it up for me. I'm literally learning this because I get messages from family and friends. It's like, where are you? Are you alive? I'm learning. I'm really learning. I think I've improved. I think, when you love something and you want it to grow and you do have to manage different aspects of the business, it gets overwhelming and you get sucked into it so much that you forget that there are people that are in your life
man.
love you, that want to spend time with you. But I have been lucky at the same time that my family and friends are very supportive, and they understand that I do have ridiculous hours. But
Have you always been, because for me personally, a lot of my friends say that I'm a workaholic, but I know my dad's work ethic was very strong, and he worked 7 days a week as a dentist, and he'd go out in the night as well and do emergencies. And so I grew up watching somebody take their career and their work and their profession very seriously. And I think that that's kind of had an effect on me. But it is really hard to strike a balance, because you do tend to burn the candle at both ends, and you get used to living like a strange life of just push. Do you think you got some of that work ethic from your parents, or is it just because of the passion for what you do?
no, definitely similar to your dad. My dad's workaholic, and I think he's always taught me that if you want something, you've got to work hard for it.
Yeah.
So I've had that similar effect from him, but at the same time, I think it is really scary, because I've got to a point where I'm like, well, actually, what happens when I have kids, when I settle down,
Yeah.
and all of that? Will I have time for them? So I'm trying to practice to be better.
Yeah.
It's
all part of
it's
it.
hard to find the balance. It does take time, and sometimes I think you have to be able to think about your health. You've got to consider that. If you kind of work so hard that you develop a little bit of a sleep issue, and you're stressed and you're always on your phone, those
No,
are
it's
things
true.
that you've got to kind of be able to pull back a bit and think, okay, right, in order for me to give this business the best that I can give it, I may need to allow myself a bit more rest. So maybe that's something that you need.
Definitely.
Now, thus far, we've spoken about, your natural intentions, like your passion and so on and so forth. The things which may have been out of your scope, such as the paperwork, such as the legal aspects of things, I'm assuming, is that where you guys being on the enterprise course kind of helped? Or
Yeah.
were there other sorts of benefits that you got? Maybe it was discipline or a mentor. Talk to us both about, what support the enterprise program provided you with.
Yeah, I think we both went through the course back in 2014, and touching on the last point as well, I think definitely hard work is like the only non-debatable. You can debate people's circumstances or talent or the opportunities that they had, but hard work is always like the most important thing, and no one that any of us know probably have got to the top without a load of hard work.
Absolutely.
So I think the enterprise program has taught you that how to probably harness your hard work, so you're not just running on a treadmill.
Okay,
It
like
teaches
strategy
you,
almost.
sort of. Yeah. I guess a strategy.
Just
of
from what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah. Strategy of how to work smarter than you currently are, I think.
So how does the enterprise course work? How long does it go for, and what actually kind of goes on?
So you do an application process. You figure out what business you want to do, and then you apply. And then they'll send you an email confirmation of, okay, you have 1 week training. You come into one of the Princess Trust hubs. They have training for 1 week straight with other entrepreneurs.
Nice.
So you get to network with other people that are at the same stage as you. So you don't feel
Awesome.
alone. I found that very powerful for me, because I felt kind of like scared. Is this the right thing for me? And everyone was on the same page, and everyone was very supportive. We had speakers, inspirational speakers coming in. We had training throughout the program to create our own business plan. And after that, you have a time limit within a year to create a business plan to go to launch panel. And during the process, after the week, you have 3 months mentor who helps you to set up read through your business plan and prove it. And then you go into launch if you want funding, or if you want mentoring, or you want both, and you pitch. It's like Dragon's Den.
Wow.
So then you can take the next steps after that, once you've gone through, and you can get a mentor for a year on top of funding, if that's what you want. Yeah.
So
That's
it's quite
amazing.
comprehensive.
Very cool. Have we got some questions?
We do.
Cool.
From Becky B. She says, where did you guys get the confidence to start your business? I have an idea, but no clue what to do first. You've kind of answered that at the beginning, but Taz, where to start? First thing.
Just do it.
Just
I
do
think-
it.
Yeah, like I think we overthink about our ideas, and we freak ourselves out, and it's not a big deal. Like literally, if you have an idea, just pursue it. If you don't try, then you'll regret it. At least if you try and you can see, and if you fail, it's fine. I failed several times and
Gotta
it's
fail.
okay. I've learnt from those experiences.
Yeah, you have to fail.
Yeah.
Like if we thought about the amount, I mean, even us as presenters, the amount of jobs we've gone for, the amount of
Shut up,
screen
George.
tests we've done, you know.
We make
You know,
mistakes. Yeah,
when we have an interview, it's normally in a studio being recorded.
Yeah.
That's how our interviews go. Or walking into a studio like this and having to perform on camera, and then they deliberate and say no. So you know, you learn a lot, I think, about those failures, and I think it's so important to just manage your expectation. Like, yes, if you have an idea, that's fantastic, because that's where it begins. Think about that idea. Perhaps do your research. Look at your competitors. George and I were discussing Indian food at great length before this started, and I was finding out some really interesting stuff about, you know, the market and what goes on. But I think it's about honing the idea and the talent, and getting ready for the fact that you are going to have a lot of challenges, but it's going to be so worth it, right? It's going to be so worth it. George, I want to ask you, when you started out, who were the people who gave you the most support, would you say?
Like Taz, I think my family have been extremely helpful to me.
They just love Indian food, so for
They
them
do
it's
like Indian food, so
it's
it's
a
easy.
massive bonus.
Another taster, yeah, why not? So I think that's always helped. I've also, don't be afraid, I guess, to reach out when you don't know something. I think a lot of people pretend that because you're an entrepreneur you should know everything, and I'm very comfortable with saying I know nothing about this. I
Nice.
don't know what I'm doing.
Yes.
And then finding the person who does know and asking them, I guess you guys have had a similar, when you first started out in the
Yeah.
game.
You've got to
Yeah.
ask people and
You do,
find
you've
things
gotta be-
out.
And you find your feet,
Yeah.
and it was difficult at the beginning, but you're now well accomplished.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We're trying. We are actually trying really hard. You mentioned not having fear. You've said, you know, just do it anyway. Were you always at that state of mind, or did you have to get taught that? Was that highlighted to you via the enterprise? Because it's a very bold, fearless thing to do, but were you always like that?
I think the enterprise program certainly helps. You meet like-minded people. You meet people in the same boat as you. Everyone's got the same fears, the same anxieties, the same worries. I think it teaches you a lot that it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be a lot of failures. It's going to be horrible. There's going to be some bad days, and that's okay. It's not always going to be like the glitz and glam that everyone makes it out. But then there are going to be some days where you can enjoy them and you can celebrate,
I
and they
think-
do come.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also just, it's pretty nice being your own boss.
Yeah.
You know, like, especially if you've been in a scenario where you've tried working for someone. I worked at the Gap. I can't fold clothes. I wasn't sacked because I couldn't fold clothes, but I should have been. But it's really hard, I think, sometimes working underneath somebody when you're someone who has great ideas and so much to offer. But that does mean that things are going to be difficult.
Indeed.
It's not going to be so easy all the time. Is there a moment that stands out to you from when you did the course? Was there like a kind of epiphany moment where you thought, that's it, or someone said something really... George,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I think there's two that come to mind. During the course, we had a gentleman from Virgin, I think, come and talk to us. He gave us an inspirational speech, and he mentioned a few brands, Virgin being one of them, and why certain people feel emotionally attached to them. And it was to do with the sort of Richard Branson, and people love the brand Virgin, even though they've never met him himself. And so
Yeah,
that
true.
really stood
It's
out.
like the Father Christmas of business.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought about it.
Yeah.
Like literally,
Yeah,
as you were
it
saying, it's
really
like,
is.
yeah, he's
Like,
a
you'd
nice
wanna
guy.
hang out with
yeah,
him.
he's cool.
You'd want
I
him
wanna
to be
get on
your
his train.
mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd want him to be your mate.
So I think that's always stuck, and I always try and do that. And my mentor, who's from the Princess Trust, who's I've been with for a year now, always keeps me grounded and keeps me focused on the next thing. And so I think that's really someone that I hold.
Yeah, who supports you so much. Right, well, this is the final question.
Let's just
yeah.
find out, Taz, did you have anyone
Yeah,
who supported
Taz,
you?
tell us.
You know, any standout individuals?
I think for me was my 3 months mentor who, when I just came off the program, I don't know, she was just very kind-hearted, and she genuinely believed in my business, and I felt kind of supported, like you said, fairy godmother type situation. And no, I just felt like someone else believed in what I thought was in my head, and sometimes I thought it was a crazy idea. And it was just reassuring to have someone that genuinely believed you, not because they're part of Princess Trust and they're giving you time. It's just an individual that thought your idea
they got
great.
it. Yeah, that it clicked with.
I know you guys thinking that I'm just updating my status. I'm not. Loads of questions coming through. From Gina, question for you, Taz. Do you have any thoughts about encouraging more girls/women to become entrepreneurs and set up their own businesses?
I celebrate this part.
Talk to us. Tell us.
I love seeing women having their own businesses, and I love going to these talks and events with Princess Trust that we get to do and meet CEOs that are women. And I'm always like, oh my God, hello, hi. Constantly I'll run to them. I think that there needs to be an increase. I believe that women are able to create so much positive change. So yeah, like I want us to take over.
We're going to do it.
I've got another question as well.
like
This is from Harry S. He says he's just coming out of the end of the enterprise program and lucky to have a successful business now. Bravo, Harry. Do you have any advice, guys, to keep improving?
I think you touched on self-belief is a huge one. Believing in yourself, believing in your product, and not getting swayed by other people's opinion, possibly. Obviously taking it on board, but making a judgment call at the end of the day. So I think self-belief is probably one of the most important things. And in terms of, what was it, improving his business.
How to keep improving, full stop. So
just improving.
So that maybe there's some books you've read, maybe there's some techniques you employ.
I've read some good books. The best one I think I've ever read is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Yes.
I think that helps with improving. I think I'm a big fan of exercise, keeping your mental health straight. So I'm into endurance sports and that sort of thing. I think that helps me
keep balanced and pushing forward.
Yeah. Do you know when you are stressed then?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, I think my girlfriend knows probably better than me.
The reason why I ask, obviously, because stress is a big thing. It affects, your output and obviously how you deal with people. You say exercise is a good way for you to...
Yeah. So I think exercise is a huge one to help, I guess, just keep you on the straight and narrow, keep you focused.
Yeah.
And it helps you combat stress. But stress comes.
Yeah. Definitely.
Indeed. That's
right.
Exactly what I do.
Yeah. You need that balance, and also to kind of release a lot of pressure. So right, it's time for our final question for our amazing panel today. If someone has an idea that they want to turn into a business, what's the one bit of advice that you would give them, Taz?
Just one.
Just one. Just one.
Believe in yourself and go for it.
I really like that. Let's put it on a t-shirt now.
Believe in yourself, go for it, do it.
Do it. I really like that. George, what do you think?
I think one day, it sounds really, really deep.
Don't worry about it. We like deep.
One day you're gonna die. So just go for it. And
just do it.
Just go in and go for it. And what's the worst that can happen?
You could have phrased it more like life is short.
Yeah,
but that would have been a little bit more like it's Friday afternoon. But it's true.
Yeah.
That is very true. You do not regret anything.
Yeah.
Be bold and kind of just.
Do we want that on a t-shirt?
I don't think that's gonna.
Maybe we won't. One day you're gonna die.
But eat my
Maybe
food, it's
we
great.
won't. but go eat my food because you haven't got long left. What's your bit of advice there, AJ, for that?
For what? How to improve your business continually, or
no, like the final question.
One bit of advice.
would you say to someone?
It would be more about yourself. The reason why I said to George, do you recognize when you're getting stressed, is because with me, I have this impression that I can do loads of things, which I am capable of doing.
Yeah.
Whether I want to do them or whether they're high up on the list of priorities of things that I should be doing is a total different kettle of fish, and that's what I've learned, the art of delegation. So.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah.
And I think also something I'm learning even now is to be able to say the word no.
Yeah.
When you're freelance, you say yes to everything.
Gimme.
You're just like, I'll do that. Yes, I will. And before you know it, you can overload yourself and then you are not like running at the right kind of capacity.
And you can't be productive.
You can't think creatively. Say no and be able to balance your life. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today.
Thank you.
It's been amazing having Taslima and George with us. The Princess Trust, with the support of NatWest, helps thousands of young people a year to set up their own businesses.
So if you're 18 to 30 years old and you've been inspired, or you've been, building your own business idea, and you're looking for support, then visit theprincesstrust.org.uk/enterprise.
Indeed. Thank you so much to our guests today. Don't forget, #YouAreTheNext. Bye, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.